and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do some stamp carving using novelty erasers. These three were discounted from Halloween, and this one was in the clearance section. I'm kind of inspired by this to do something else, but I wanted to do a theme and I wanted to do 3-in-1. But just a little hint for a future video when I get around to it, if I get around to it. I'm seeing green, light blue, and fading into dark blue. What does that make you think of? So, we'll do this another time. Set that aside. So I'm thinking it's December now. These are from Halloween, so October. I wanted to do something that fit both, honestly. It's past Halloween. I'm not going to do a Halloween inspired one today, or this week. But, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap these, trace them onto a piece of paper. I have a piece of scrapbook paper here. I'm still trying to use this stuff up. So I'm just going to use that to sketch on, since the artwork will be on a separate sheet of paper. I'm just doing the sketching for what's going to be on these. So let's unwrap these. Unfortunately, it does have print on both sides, but this is very little. And this has a different texture to it, so I'm probably going to be carving on this side. I don't know. I'm assuming it's still eraser, but it's firmer than this side is, so. So I'm probably just going to end up cutting these into like blocks. But the point of this, we're not carving something based on the shape, but we want to know how much room we have. So if I wanted to do something way up into here, I know that I have a little bit of give there. I don't think I will, but it's good to know your options. All right, so I'm back. Everything's been sketched up. And I just used a really light pencil. I used an HB. I was going to test this out in a separate video, but looking back at it now, I realize that it's missing an integral part. So it has this mechanical pencil. However, it needs a regular mechanical pencil for the thinner ones, I believe. So I'm just gonna use it for this. I'm not 100% sure what type of lead this is or how hard it is, but it makes a pretty dark line. It's probably just HB. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna color in the darkest bits, since I'm just doing black and white. And so I'm gonna do that really fast with all of them. And you can see here why I outlined the original. It's so that I know how to fit it. And this is actually the ghost. I just flipped it upside down to fit my drawing better. So I'm just gonna go through. And I'm trying not to make the details too small, but sometimes that's kind of hard. Alright, the glare is driving me crazy with this one, so I'm gonna do a simpler one on camera. Thinking I'm gonna do this one on camera. So this one's a little trickier, and that's a good example, is you want to make sure you're coloring the darkest parts, because you're going to be carving out the lightest parts. So you've got to be careful on all of your negative space. And the nice thing about this kit, what was included, try not to fling everything everywhere. has these little pencil sharpeners for this guy. So I can continue using a nice point. And if it makes it easier for you, you can always edit your photos to black and white, and sometimes that makes it a lot easier. And remember, you've got to color kind of hard. And now we're just going to do the same thing to the other two. Alright, so I've got them all drawn on really hard now. I'm going to quickly cut them out and transfer them. Alright, so everything's cut out now. Because I'm doing multiples, I kept each one on top of the original piece of paper so that I know what which eraser each one goes with. So as a way to both clean it, since I had them open, I have pets, so there's gonna be hair. So to clean them as well as make it a little easier to transfer, I'm wiping it down with an alcohol wipe. The moisture from the alcohol, maybe it's the alcohol itself, will make the transfer go a little bit smoother. So let's just make sure I'm doing it in the right spot. I did try and leave a little bit of an outline so that I have some room. And unfortunately, this is going to get in the way a little bit. All right. And then you're just going to rub it down. Seems to have gone on pretty well. And see that label? It kind of gets in the way, but I can still tell the difference because it's graphite. So I'm going to do that to each of these. And you will still have your sketch, so if you wanted to just completely cut it out and glue it onto something, or line it, or whatever, you can still do so. All right, let that dry and go on to the next one. I do have the carving bits, but they're very dull. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to sharpen them. I did buy a sharpening block specifically for this video and so that I could do this more again. So I'm actually gonna use this as my work surface because it's here. It just came in the mail today, or tonight rather. After looking at the listing, that didn't even tell me anything. I got it from Michael's, but it was sent from somewhere else. But I did feel it, and the darker gray feels like the coarser side. So we're gonna start with that. I have a bunch of these, and this has more, so you can rotate. And a couple of these are actually, I think this one is, but I can't remember, for dip pens, but they're more ergonomic. So I'm just gonna start with this one. And you might be able to see the edge. That's what we're gonna work with. I'm just gonna pull it. I'm just gonna test this on the little ear bit. All right, little pressure. A lot of pressure. It's still tearing quite a bit. I don't know if you can see how jagged that line is. So I'm gonna just keep going back and forth. You guys don't have to watch this. I don't want to hear it. I'm gonna go ahead and do all the white stuff. I'm gonna start out with this super thin one. And I'm wiggling it around to get those like jagged, scribbly lines that I was looking for. So I'm gonna clean this up and we're gonna test this out before we do the other two so that we know if we have to clean anything up. I'm gonna test it on the back of this original sketch. Okay, that's not supposed to be connected. I need to connect something up here. What do I need to connect? It's over here, okay. Yeah, that needs to be fixed right there. I think besides that, I'm actually pretty happy with this. There are some spots. So if you see like right here on this part, on this side, I need to fix that up. There's just some little spots here and there. We're gonna pull out this knife and just carve around the outside. And it's easier to do this in bits. Like, you notice how I haven't finished carving the top part off? It's easier to do it in bits when you're doing this part because you have something to grip onto without having to be too concerned about pulling little details off. I'm not too concerned on taking chunks off of this part because there's not much else you can do with that as far as doing another stamp. And boom! Technically, you've got your first stamp right there. So we're at the point where this is a perfect example. Some people carve solely with an X-Acto knife with eraser making. Some people like me aren't as great at doing the detailed bits, and I'm going to need an X-Acto knife with some of the detailing. So you just want to kind of go in at an angle. And then you want to go in the opposite way at an angle, but I've got to find where it was now. That's my thing. Where was it? Where was I working? Also try not to smudge it. All right. We're just gonna jump around then. I'll find. And of course, with the knife or with these, like we've seen, we sharpen these. So when you buy them new, they are also sharp. So you want to be very careful about not hurting yourself. right, I actually might be able to do this without the knife. I'm feeling a little more confident now. I need a break of the monotony. I'm gonna jump over to this one and come back to that one. Just to make this easier for later, for storage, if I want to do little pieces with it and everything, we'll just chop that up. So now we're going to test this out on a piece of cheap paper. Let's use this one that I've already cut up for the turkey video. Oh, I double printed it. I plopped it down too hard. I double printed it a little bit down here. There is one little spot I'd like to clean up a little bit. Besides, and I want to thin this out just a smidge. Don't do what I'm doing, by the way. Not only for the art, because I could easily just completely screw this whole thing up, but for your safety, I'm cutting towards my thumb. Don't do this. I'm liking that. So I'm relatively happy with this. I'm going to do something a little different than the other ones because there's so many little details. And I know that some of it, I didn't get the bigger pieces. I'm just going to go directly on with the ink to see what I'm missing. Alright, so I had to make a Michaels run, and all I did was I brought these with me, and I just put them in that pencil box that we looked at earlier. And I just checked to make sure that they all fit. I ended up getting the same thing for everything because that was my best option. So we are just going to attach them with some tacky glue. I've let these dry enough to at least be tacky so that I can do this. I've planned out where they're going to go on my page, and I've also wrote their names out, so I'm just going to transfer them and ink them after. So let's just get these on really fast. So I'm just going to use the transfer paper on this and then use an ink pen. So while I let the ink dry before I erase my lines, I sneakily made a little signature and some little blades of grass just to add a little extra detail with the scrap bits, and then I attached it to a stamp block from the dollar store that I had for a while. I did my S backwards, but that's okay. We're just being quirky here, I guess. That's all right. And then, I mean, I can at least clean up these bits. Ooh, that's not erasing well. That's a concern. Oh, crap. Well, I guess we're leaving it like that. I'll probably do it again on my own off camera, but that's the idea of it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next week, and don't forget to stay artsy.